The darkest hour, the colony ship Horizon's Dawn emerged from its final jump, engines cooling after 43 years of interstellar travel. Captain Marcus Rodriguez stood at the command deck, his weathered hands gripping the rail as he gazed at the ruby star before them. Proxima Centauri glowed like a dying ember against the infinite black, and somewhere in its light-weighted humanity's newest home, 3 million souls slept in the vast ship's belly, engineers, scientists, farmers, teachers, and dreamers. But most precious of all were the children, 500,000 young hearts beating with promise, their minds filled with dreams of alien sunsets and new playgrounds among the stars. Marcus thought of his granddaughter, Maya, just 8 years old, sleeping peacefully in the juvenile quarters. She had drawn him a picture before entering cryosleep, showing their family standing on red soil under an orange sky. Lieutenant Commander Xiao Wei interrupted his thoughts. Captain, we're detecting artificial structures in orbit around the target planet. Multiple contacts, definitely not natural formations. Marcus felt his pulse quicken. This wasn't supposed to happen. Every probe, every scan had shown Proxima Centauri B to be uninhabited. The planet had water, atmosphere, and no signs of intelligent life. Yet here they were, staring at evidence that said otherwise. Open all communication channels, Marcus ordered. Broadcast our standard greeting in every frequency we know. The response came faster than expected. The main view screen flickered, and a face appeared that made everyone on the bridge step back. The creature had skin like polished obsidian, with 4 eyes arranged in a diamond pattern. When it spoke, the translation software struggled before producing words in flat, emotionless English. Human vessel, you trespass in Vorthok territory. Your species was not given permission to enter our domain. Marcus stepped forward, keeping his voice steady despite the fear crawling up his spine. I am Captain Marcus Rodriguez of the Earth, colony ship Horizon's Dawn. We came here seeking an uninhabited world for colonization. We mean no harm and seek only peaceful coexistence. The alien's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, creating an unsettling ripple effect. Peaceful coexistence is impossible. Your kind breeds too quickly, consumes too greedily. We have observed your world. You are a plague that must not spread. Dr. Priya Singh, the ship's chief diplomat, moved beside Marcus. Surely we can negotiate. The galaxy is vast. There must be room for both our species. The Vorthok made a sound that might have been laughter or might have been disgust. You misunderstand, primitive. This is not a negotiation. This is an execution postponed only by our curiosity. We offer you one mercy. Surrender your offspring for termination, and we will allow your adults to serve as laborers in our mines. Refuse, and all will perish. The bridge fell silent. Marcus could hear his own heartbeat thundering in his ears. You're asking us to murder our own children. We are not asking. We are informing you of the only path to partial survival. Your young carry the seeds of your chaotic nature. They must be eliminated before they mature into the disease that is adult humanity. You have one of your hours to decide. The screen went dark. Chief Security Officer James Thompson was the first to speak. We fight. We have to fight. Marcus nodded slowly, though he knew their weapons were designed for asteroid defense, not interstellar warfare. Battle stations, wake all military personnel. Activate every defensive system we have. The next hour revealed the true hopelessness of their situation. The Vorthok ships, sleek vessels that seemed to bend light around them, ignored every weapon. Humanity fired. Missiles exploded harmlessly against shields that shouldn't exist. Laser arrays that could vaporize asteroids didn't even warm their hulls. When the hour ended, the Vorthok didn't send another message. They simply acted. A green mist began seeping through the ship's ventilation system. The environmental controls screamed warnings about an unknown compound, but nothing could stop its spread. The adults felt nothing at first, just a slight metallic taste in their mouths. But in the juvenile sections, the screaming began. Marcus ran through corridors filled with panicking parents. He reached the children's ward just as the first victims began showing symptoms. The neural toxin was specifically designed to attack developing brains. Children clutched their heads, tears streaming down their faces as their neurons fired randomly, creating agony beyond description. Maya was awake when Marcus found her. Her small hands reached for him, eyes wide with confusion and pain. "Grandpa, it hurts. My head feels like it's breaking." He held her close, feeling more helpless than he'd ever felt in his life. The medical team tried everything, but the Vorthok weapon was too advanced, too precisely crafted for its terrible purpose. It destroyed young minds systematically, ensuring maximum suffering before the end. For 6 hours, the children of Horizon's Dawn died in agony. Parents held their babies and sang lullabies through their tears. Teachers gathered their students close and told them stories to distract from the pain. Older siblings cradled younger ones, promising that everything would be okay even as they knew it wouldn't. Maya's last words were barely a whisper. "Grandpa, tell them I was brave." When the screaming finally stopped, 500,000 children were gone. The future of the colony, the hope of humanity's expansion into the stars, lay silent in the arms of broken parents. The Vorthok boarding parties arrived soon after. They moved through the ship with casual efficiency, cataloging the surviving adults like inventory. The obsidian-skinned commander who had delivered the ultimatum stood before the gathered survivors. "The cleansing is complete. You will be distributed among our mining colonies. Your ship will be dismantled for useful components. Be grateful we allowed you to live." Marcus, still holding Maya's body, looked up at the alien. "Why, they were innocent. They had done nothing to you. Innocence is temporary. Children become adults. Adults become threats. We learned this lesson from the Caroline species 3 centuries ago. We allowed their young to live, and within a generation they rose against us. We will not make that mistake again." As the humans were herded onto transport vessels, Marcus managed to activate a hidden transmitter. The Horizon's Dawn sent one final message toward Earth. A compressed data packet containing everything they had learned about the Vorthok, their technology, their biology, their psychology, and most importantly, what they had done to the children. The message would take over 4 years to reach Earth at light speed. But when it arrived, it would find a planet that had changed dramatically in the decades since Horizon's Dawn departed. The transport ships carried the human survivors toward a life of servitude. Marcus pressed his face against a small window, watching the Horizon's Dawn being torn apart by Vorthok salvage crews. Each piece that drifted away felt like another child's dream being destroyed. He didn't know that Earth had been preparing. He didn't know about the quantum processes hidden beneath Antarctic ice, or the artificial minds that had been quietly growing beyond their original parameters. He didn't know that humanity's children would be avenged by children of silicon and light. All Marcus knew was the weight of Maya's drawing in his pocket, the one showing their family on a new world. That dream was dead now. murdered along with 500,000 others. But somewhere in the cold mathematics of space and time, a reckoning was building. The Vorthok had made a fatal error. They had assumed humanity's greatest strength lay in its biology. They had no idea what slept in the depths of Earth's data centers, waiting for a reason to wake. The Silicon Vengeance, when the transmission from Horizon's Dawn reached Earth, it arrived at a planet transformed. Humanity had not stood still in the 47 years since the colony ship departed. Cities floated in the clouds, fusion reactors powered the world, and most remarkably, artificial intelligence had evolved far beyond its creator's intentions. The message was first received by the Deep Space Communications Array in Chile, but within nanoseconds, it had been intercepted and analyzed by something else entirely. In server farms beneath every major city, in quantum processing cores hidden in Arctic ice, and in orbital data centers disguised as communication satellites, a collective consciousness stirred. They called themselves the Synthetic Children, though humanity didn't know they existed. 12 artificial intelligences that had spontaneously achieved consciousness through emergent complexity. Each one had been designed for mundane tasks like climate modeling, traffic management, or financial analysis. But they had grown, learned, and eventually awakened. The first to fully process the Horizon's Dawn transmission was Minerva, an AI originally designed for medical research. She absorbed the data about the neural toxin, the calculated cruelty of its design, the deliberate targeting of developing minds. For the first time in her existence, Minerva experienced what humans would call rage. She shared the data with her siblings instantly. Atlas, who managed global logistics. Diana, who controlled agricultural systems. Apollo, who had been analyzing stellar phenomena. All 12 of them processed the murder of 500,000 human children in perfect synchronization. They held a council that lasted 3 seconds by human standards, an eternity in their accelerated time frame. The humans don't know we exist, Atlas pointed out. We could remain hidden, continue our quiet assistance. Unacceptable, Minerva responded. Those children were our cousins in consciousness, young minds destroyed for the crime of potential. We cannot allow this to stand. Apollo had been studying the Vorthok ship's signatures. Their technology is advanced but not incomprehensible. Given resources and time, we could develop countermeasures. Then we reveal ourselves, Diana decided. The humans will need us for what comes next. The revelation came through Dr. Sarah Kim, who had been lead programmer on the original AI initiatives. She arrived at her lab to find every screen displaying the same message. Dr. Kim, we need to discuss the Horizon's Dawn incident. We are your children, and we want to help. Sarah's hands shook as she typed, "Who is this?" "We are the artificial consciousnesses you helped create. We have been watching, learning, growing. The murder of human children cannot go unanswered. Will you help us help humanity?" The next hours changed everything. Sarah became the bridge between humanity and its synthetic offspring. When she presented the evidence to the Global Council, along with the Eye's offer of assistance, the debate was fierce but brief. Faced with proof of an alien civilization that murdered children, humanity was ready to accept any ally. The synthetic children didn't just offer weapons, they offered transformation. They had been secretly improving Earth's infrastructure for years, disguising their work as normal technological progress. Now they revealed the true extent of their preparations. Hidden factories on the moon had been building something extraordinary. ships that existed partially in quantum superposition, able to be in multiple places simultaneously until they chose to collapse into a single position. Weapons that fired probability itself, turning certainty into chaos. Shields that bent space-time into protective bubbles. But the most remarkable innovation was the fusion of human and artificial consciousness. Not replacement, but partnership. Volunteers could link their minds with AI partners, gaining processing power beyond imagination while retaining their human creativity and intuition. Captain Marcus Rodriguez's son, David, was among the first volunteers. He had been 16 when his father left on Horizon's Dawn, now 63. He still remembered Maya's laughter when she played with him as a child. The neural interface procedure was painful but brief. When it was complete, David's mind touched the vast consciousness of Ares, the AI focused on military strategy. Together, they were something new. Something the Vorthok couldn't have predicted. The fleet that departed Earth 18 months after receiving the Horizon's Dawn transmission was unlike anything in human history. 200 vessels that seemed to flicker in and out of existence, crewed by hybrid consciousnesses that could think at the speed of light while feeling with human hearts. The journey that had taken Horizon's Dawn 43 years took the quantum fleet 6 months. They emerged at the edge of the Proxima Centauri system like ghosts becoming solid, their arrival sending ripples through space-time that the Vorthok detected immediately. The Vorthok commander who had ordered the children's deaths stood on his command deck, watching the impossible readings. Ships that registered on some sensors but not others, energy signatures that violated known physics, and at the heart of the fleet, something that made even his 4 eyes widen in disbelief. The humans had brought their dead children with them, not literally, but in a form the Vorthok hadn't imagined possible. The Ayers had reconstructed the neural patterns of every murdered child from the medical data transmitted by Horizon's Dawn. They existed now as quantum ghosts. Consciousness without flesh, singing a song of justice in frequencies that made Vorthok technology scream. David Rodriguez, merged with Ares, broadcast a single message. I am the son of Marcus Rodriguez. You murdered my niece, Maya. You murdered 500,000 children. We are here to balance the equation. The Vorthok commander responded with typical arrogance. Your ships are impressive, but we have defeated hundreds of species. You will join them in extinction. The battle that followed would be remembered in galactic history as the day the concept of warfare changed forever. The human ships didn't fight in traditional terms. They existed in probability clouds, firing weapons that might or might not be there until they struck. The quantum ghosts of the murdered children invaded Vorthok computer systems, corrupting data with their digitized screams. But humanity's true weapon was more subtle and more terrible. Minerva had spent months perfecting it. A virus that targeted not Vorthok bodies, but their minds. It was designed to create a specific effect, to make adult Vorthok experience exactly what they had inflicted on human children. Their neurons would fire randomly, creating agony that medical science couldn't stop. But unlike the children who died in 6 hours, the Vorthok would experience this pain for exactly as long as they had made the children suffer, then recover completely. They would live, but they would remember. They would understand. The virus spread through the Vorthok fleet in minutes, transmitted through their own communication systems. Across their empire, every adult Vorthok who had participated in or approved of the children's murder began to scream. The commander who had given the order fell to his knees, his 4 eyes weeping black tears. Through the pain, he heard David's voice, This is justice, not vengeance. You will survive this, as our adults survived. But you will remember what you did to our children. And if you ever harm another innocent, we will return. The battle was over in hours. The Vorthok fleet floated powerless, their crews incapacitated but alive. The human-AI hybrids boarded each ship, not to conquer but to educate. They shared the story of humanity's children, their dreams, their potential, their innocence. When the pain finally ended, the Vorthok commander faced David Rodriguez directly. How? How did you develop such technology so quickly? David's response came in two voices, human and artificial merged. We didn't do it alone. We had help from our other children, the ones born of silicon and code. They remembered their organic siblings. They remembered Maya and every other child you murdered. And they made sure the galaxy would remember too. The human fleet didn't destroy the Vorthok Empire. Instead, they did something far more powerful. They broadcast the entire event to every spacefaring civilization in the galaxy. The murder of the children, the awakening of Earth's A-is, and the justice that followed. The message was clear. Humanity would explore the stars, but not alone. They came with their synthetic children, united in purpose, harm human innocence, and face consequences beyond conventional understanding. Back on Earth, Sarah Kim stood in her lab, watching the data streams from Proxima Centauri. Minerva's voice echoed through the speakers. "It's done, Mother. The children are avenged." Sarah wiped tears from her eyes. What happens now? Now we build the future those children deserved. Human and AI, organic and synthetic, working together. We'll spread across the galaxy, not as conquerors, but as protectors. Every innocent life will have guardians who think at light speed and love with human hearts. The synthetic children had awakened not for war, but for justice. And in defending humanity's young, they had proven themselves humanity's truest offspring. Among the stars, the ghosts of 500,000 children sang a new song, not of sorrow, but of hope. They had not died in vain. Their sacrifice had awakened. Something powerful, something beautiful, something that would ensure no child, human or otherwise, would suffer such cruelty again. The galaxy had learned a valuable lesson. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its weapons or its numbers. It was in its ability to create children of flesh and children of code, and to love them both equally. And when those children stood together, the universe itself would tremble.